Abel, the old man, he talks. What's the matter with little Vicky? Because she went upstairs. Seeing him moving in the bed, she got scared and she made some sounds over there and she came running downstairs. So he is asking, what's the matter with little Vicky? What had happened to her? He sees Ben and Mrs. Jordan there. Hello, what brings you here? How's yourself, Ben? That way he greeted everybody in a one tone. Once again, what's the matter with little Vicky? He questioned there. He sees Ben and Jordan there. Hello, what brings you here? How's yourself, Ben? That way he inquired everything over there. Abel thrust his hand at Ben, who skips back smartly and retreats with Mrs. Jordan to a safe distance below the sofa. Now you see, if somebody he comes in whom I think he is dead long back, if he appears here, he questions, hello, how are you, Mr. Rao? Then how will be my actions over here or reaction over here? I knew pretty well that he is dead long back. Right? He thumps my chest and questions, hello, Rao, how are you? Then I will be taking back and moving aside out of the reach of that man. Right? That's what Ben has done. He was just punching and asking, hello, how are you, Ben? Then he himself and took the hand of his wife and they are retreating back to a safer place away from the old man because they were thinking the old man already passed away. Maybe it is his ghost. Mrs. Slater approaching Abel gingerly means like this, means shaking all over is called gingerly. So she approached him gingerly. Father, is that you? She pokes him with her hand to see if he is solid. Right? She asked him, Father, is that you? And pokes also. She is not certain whether her finger is reaching him or not. She wanted to know whether he is solid or only it is air. Of course, it is me. Don't do that, Amelia. What the devil do you mean by this tomfoolery? Means she is tickling him. Is it not? She wanted to make certain whether this is a man or a ghost, and gingerly she is putting her finger. And he is thinking it's tomfoolery and don't touch me, don't do this. Of course, it is me. I am alive as much. That way the father tells. Mrs. Jordan, you took us by surprise, father. Are you keeping quite well? Now you are this coming up from the bed with this your action. What had happened to us? We were surprised. You took us by surprise. Trying to catch the words. What? What? Am I keeping well? Quite well? What do you mean? So what he said is, what? Mrs. Jordan, are you quite well? Yeah, I am right enough, but for a bit of a headache. Of course, headache would be there. Only that much. If not, I am quite well. Looking at Amelia. Amelia, what the dickens did I do with my new slippers? Amelia, what had happened to my slippers? What did I do with it? I don't find them at my footsteps. When I am coming down on the bed, there are no slippers over there. What did I do with that? Mrs. Slater, confused. Aren't they by the hearth, father? Hearth is what? Hearth is a rug or a carpet which is put over there in the floor. That is called hearth. Why? Fireplace is there. Fireplace, always the fire will be burning and hence the floor will also be hot. and to prevent that, they will be having a sheet covered, that is called hearth. Right? She is asking, don't you find your pair of slippers on the hearth? Right? Wasn't she know that it has been already given to her husband? She was knowing it, but still she wanted to cover it. And so she says, don't you find them at the hearth? Right? That way she questions. I don't see them. Now by this, he observes the feet of Henry. Right? Why you have got them on, Henry? Henry, why are you having those pairs? Those are mine. Why are you having those pairs at your feet? What are they doing there? Right? Mrs. Slater promptly, I told him to put them on, to stretch them. They were that new and hard. Now, Henry, no. Don't be angry with him. I asked him, right? In reality, I asked him to put them on so that they can stretch. They are new, no? They are very tight for your feet, no? And they are even injuring your feet. And so I asked him to make them loose, right? Henry, give them back. That way she wanted to cover up everything. Mrs. Slater snatches the slippers from Henry and gives them to Abel, who puts them on and sits in the armchair. Mrs. Jordan to Ben, well, I don't call that delicate, stepping into a dead man's shoes in such haste. Now, Ben, see how quick they are. The man is dying this time, this moment, and the other moment, your cousin-in-law is putting his feet on the dead man's shoe. Now you understand how quick they are. That way, she is talking to Ben. Victoria runs across Abel and sits on the floor at his feet. Oh, Grandpa, I am so glad you are not dead. She discloses it. See, children are very frank. They cannot keep anything in their mind. They spill it over everything there. Now, oh Grandpa, I'm so glad you are not dead. Mrs. Slater, in a vindicative whisper, hold your tongue, Victoria. In a vindicative whisper, she wanted to hold. She doesn't want her child to reveal everything. And in an anger mood, the anger should not be shown. And so, in a vindicative mood, she said, Victoria, don't open your tongue, hold it. That way she was scolding her. What's that? Who has gone dead? That way, the old man did not take anything. He questions, who has gone here? Who has gone dead? That way he questions. Mrs. Slater loudly, Victoria says she has sorry about your head. It is not dead, but she is talking about your head because you said no, headache was there, and so she is talking about your head. She wanted to again cover it up. Abel, thank you, Vicky, but I am feeling better now. Headache was there, but not now. I am very, very sound now. Thank you. So, Abel, why Ben? You are in mourning? And Lizzie too? Amelia? And Henry? And little Vicky? Who has gone dead? It is someone in the family. He chuckles. Alright? What is this? Amelia is dressed with a morning dress. Henry, everybody is in morning dress. Why? Has anybody gone from the family? Died? Or what? What happened? That way he has inquired, but when he has seen everybody in a dark dress, he could not, but he chuckled. Means he laughed. Who had died? That way. Why? Means certain people are like that. They can search somewhat of humor in every aspect, whether it is a sorrowful thing or it is a what we call as a happy mood, wherever it is. And so the chuckle word has been put over there. He chuckled. Mrs. Slater, no one you know, father, a relation of Ben's. You don't know for certain who is that, but it is Ben's relative. And what relation of Ben's? Mrs. Slater, his brother. To Mrs. Slater, damn it, I never had one. What are you talking? Have sense. I don't have a brother and you are killing a brother of mine. How come? Just think about what you are talking. That way Ben gives in. Abel, dear, and what was his name, Ben? You may not be having a brother. Don't worry. He had died now. What is his name? You see, he hears both the things, but still he continues. What is the name of the dead person? As if it is a very important thing, he wanted to know it here. Now, Ben, at a loss, what name to be taken, he doesn't know. And so, simply he started mumbling. That way, he left it. Mrs. Slater, right side of the table, prompting, Frederick, because Ben already said, right? So, taking that clue, she had covered it, Frederick his name. Okay. And by telling so, she went to the table. She goes to the table. Now, Mrs. Jordan, left side of the table, prompting, Albert. Both sisters with two names, they come up. Now, Mrs. Slater, Frederick, and Mrs. Jordan, Albert. Ben and Fred, that way he covered up, and lastly, Isaac, he said. He came up with all the two pieces and one more piece added to, and he had come up with a new name. Abel, Isaac. And where did your brother Isaac die? Isaac died. Where did he die? He questioned. In Australia. He died in Australia. Abel rising. Well, I suppose you have only been waiting for me to begin tea. I am feeling hungry. Mrs. Slater, taking up the kettle quickly, I'll make tea. Abel, come along now, sit you down and be jolly. Abel sits at the head of the table facing spectators. Abel suddenly recollecting, Amelia and Henry, what the devil did you mean by shifting my bureau out of my bedroom? Henry and Mrs. Slater are speechless. Do you hear me, Henry? Amelia, he repeats. Now, Abel sits facing the spectators, that is audience, and suddenly he sees there is the bureau over there. And he questions both Amelia and Henry. Amelia and Henry, what the devil did you mean by shifting my bureau out of my room? The word devil and oh God, these are usually used as helping words. That means to continue the speech. Many people you can see but that way they will be flabbering. It is not flabbering. To keep the speech continuity, they use certain words. These are termed as Tapi Dharmarao in Telugu as useless words. Vyardha padalu, he put it. They simply put the continuity to the dialogue, but they don't have the required meaning over there. Likewise, the word devil. The word devil meaning is we know it is a demon. No, here it is a word to keep his speech continue. That is, we can see here, what the devil did you mean by shifting my bureau out of my bedroom? What do you want to do with it? What is the meaning of it? Why did you shift the bureau here? What made you shift it? And both Amelia and Jordan, Henry and Slater, they have become speechless because they were caught in the hole. Do you hear me, Henry and Amelia? Again he put it, he forced it. Mrs. Jordan, what bureau was that, father? What bureau you are talking about, father? Why, my bureau, the one I bought. Earlier, it was said that Henry bought it, right? Now, it is the other way round. What is it? It is the father who bought it. Mrs. Jordan, pointing to the bed, was it the one, father? Abel, yeah, that's it. What's it doing here? Eh? Are, yeah, that's it. But what is it doing here? It should have been in my room. What is it doing here? That way he said. A pause. What to speak, what not to speak. In the part of Yuva, the younger sister, she has nothing to say about it. Only she was inquiring why it has come. And elder sister, she knew it pretty well. She brought it over and she put it here. She knew it pretty well. And there was a silence over there. Nobody is speaking. A pause. The clock on the mantelpiece strikes 6. Meanwhile, the clock over here, do you remember that? The elder sister brings it and puts it here on the mantle, right? That it did not keep silent. It started striking dong, 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 showing its presence over there, right? Drat me, if that isn't my clock too. What the devil's being going on this house? You see, when the clock strikes ding dong, the old fellow again turns this and, Arey, what is this? Is it not my clock? What the hell that clock is doing here? That way he talks. A slight pause. There is no reply from anybody because the younger daughter, she doesn't know. And the elder knows it, but she doesn't want to speak. A pause over there. Then, well, I will be hanged. You see, if I do it myself, I will be hanged. But it is you have done it. That way, the younger son-in-law, he pointed out, if at all it is me, people would have hung me by this time. Right? That way he put it. Mrs. Jordan, rising, I'll tell you what's been going on in this house. Going on in this house. Father, nothing short of robbery. Now, the continuity of two prepositions here, on and in, there I have repeated. Why? Usually two prepositions, they don't come one after the other. But here this on has to be put along with going on. That is a phrase, going on. In, it shows the position. And so both have been used there. So now once again, I will tell you what has been going on in this house. Father, nothing short of robbery. It is all robbery here. That is what was going on in this house. I can just tell you that. It is robbery. Right? Mrs. Slater, be quiet, Elijah. Do you mean to say we are robbers? We are thieves? What do you think? And you are telling it is robbery. Be quiet. Jordan, I will not be quiet. Oh, I call it double-faced. Okay. It may not be robbery, but I call it as what? Double-faced. Here he dies, and there you takes of every valuable item. What nonsense is this? I call it as a double-faced thing. Now, Henry, now, Elizabeth means what? Now, Elizabeth. That means you are crossing every limit. You are abusing, you are scolding. Be quiet. Keep within yourself. Everything has been talked, though it is not talked. What has been put over there? Now, Elizabeth. That is warning. Means what? You are talking much. You are abusing us. You are scolding us. Don't do that. That way he is warning. Mrs. Jordan, and you too? Are you such a poor creature that you must do every dirty thing she tells you? So far, I was just thinking that you are a very honorable man, very honest man, I thought. You also doing the same thing as she asked you to do it. That way she started scolding her brother-in-law even. Sir, Abel, rising, thumping the table, damn it all! Will someone tell me what's been going on? Because he is only a spectator. These two are fighting. For what? What had happened earlier. And he was not knowing what had happened. And everybody there were quarreling. And so he wanted an explanation from everybody. He thumps on the table and asks, what is going on here? Will anybody explain me? ధృతరాష్ట్రుడు అంటాడు, అక్కడ శ్రీకృష్ణుడు విశ్వరూపం చూపిస్తాడు. ధృతరాష్ట్రుడు గుడ్డివాడు, అతను అడుగుతూ ఉంటాడు, ఏమవుతోంది ఇక్కడ అని. The same thing we can see here. The old man questions what is happening here. Because he was not knowing what had happened. Right? And Mrs. Jordan also was not knowing. And two people knowing it, they are grumbling. All the four are quarreling there. So he questions. Yes, I will. I will not see you robbed. Yes, Father, I will tell you, you are being robbed, and I don't want to see that you are robbed. Abel, who has been robbing me? ఎవడు నా వస్తువులు దొంగతనం చేస్తున్నారా? ఎవరు చేస్తున్నారు? As a matter of fact, he questions. Mrs. Jordan, Amelia and Henry, these two, your elder daughter and elder son-in-law, these two are robbing you. They have stolen your clock and bureau. They have stolen from your room. They brought it down and they put it. They have stolen your items. So, working herself up, they sneaked into your room like thieves in the night and stole them after you were dead. When they thought that you are dead, they have stolen these things. They have sneaked into your room and they brought everything down and they kept as if they are their own items and things. Henry and Mrs. Slater, hush, quiet, Elizabeth. Both were angry and also they don't want that their character should be opened up before the father. And so they both angrily shouted at Elizabeth. Mrs. Jordan, I will not be stopped. After you were dead, I say. After who was dead? Abel once again questions. And Mrs. Jordan, you. But I am not dead. Mrs. Jordan, no, but they thought you were. A pause. Abel gazes round at them. Oh, so that's why you are all in black today. You thought I was dead. And again he chuckles. That was a big mistake. He sits and resumes his tea. He sits there quietly and calmly. He drinks the tea. One is, he was told that he was dead. People thought he was dead. Second, his bureau was brought down. His clock was brought down. Everything is happening against him. But he calmly and quietly sits over there, enjoys the tea, chuckling. Now you can make out the character there of Abel. Mrs. Slater sobbing, Father. Abel, I didn't take you long to start dividing my things between you. I will tell you what I am going to do. Since your mother died, I have lived a part of the time with you, Amelia, and part with you, Lizzie. Well, I shall make a new will, leaving all my bits of things to whoever I am living with when I die. How does that strike you? No. Now there is no necessity of your weeping. Keep it with you, keep it with you. It has not taken much time to divide things amongst you people. As soon you thought that I am dead, you started parting the things between you. Now, I have come to a conclusion. I am living with you too since your mother died. Partly with you and partly with your sister. No? Now I am going to rewrite my will. And I want to spell every word very clearly in that. What is that? I want to give away all my belongings, all my things, right? To that whoever I am living with when I die. Now you see, when I die, if I am living with you, the property goes to you. If I am living with your sister, the property goes to her. That means, whomsoever I live with, I will leave my property with them, to them. Okay? Mrs. Jordan, you know, Father, it's quite time you came to live with us again. We would make you very comfortable. Come on, Father, come on. It is quite good time that you lived with us. Right? Now you come with me. Don't rely on these people. They are robbers. They are thieves. Right? To come along with me. We want to take care of you. Who said this? Mrs. Jordan. Why? Because he is going to change his will like that. What the will says? Whomsoever the old man lives and dies with, the property belongs to him or her. So now, Mrs. Jordan immediately reacts on it and she welcomes him. Let us go and I will make you comfortable. You can come and stay with us. Mrs. Slater, no, he has not been with us as long as he was with you. He has not been with us as long as he was with you. He was with you for 5 years. He is with us only for 3 years. He will be with us for the remaining 2 years even. We want him here. We don't want to part with him. We don't want to send him to you. That way she decided and told. Mrs. Jordan, I may be wrong, but I don't think Father will fancy living on with you after what's happened today. See, I'm wrong to leave him with you. I know very well he may not be putting up with you because he knows already what had happened with him, what you have done with him. He may not be taking fancy to live with you. Abel, it seems to me that neither you has any cause to feel proud about the way you have treated me. No. Eliza, just wait. Why are you be so proud? I did live with you and I lived with your sister even. Now if I compare these two, it doesn't seem to me that neither of you has any cause to feel proud about the way you have treated your father. You see, you both are equal in treating your father. You are not less and she is not more. She has not treated me more and you have not treated me well. Both are equal in treating me. Right? So, just keep quiet. Mrs. Slater, if I have done anything wrong, I am sure I am sorry for it. Father, if I did anything wrong, I am sure I am very sorry for it and I know that you will forgive me. Mrs. Jordan, and I can't say more than that too. If at all you felt sad when you were with me, and if I am wrong, I too tender my apologies. I am very sorry, Father. I am equally sorry as she does. Abel, it's a bit late to say it now. At this point, you are telling sorry to me, no? Both of you? It is a little bit late already. Why? Neither of you cared to put up with me. I have experienced. neither of you have any interest to take care of me. You both are equally caring me. Means, I want to say, you both were not caring me. It is too bit late now. So, Mrs. Slater and Jordan at a time. No, 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 father. It is not like that, father. We do care you. We do care you. We want to take care of you. No, 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 father. Both the sisters put it at a time. Abel. Hey, you both say that because of what I have told you about leaving my money. Well, since you don't want me, I will go to someone that does. You see, because I told that my property would go to that who cares me before my death, so you both are quarreling for that. No, no, it is very late. Keep quiet, keep quiet. Because already I am having a plan to move off from this place. To where? You maybe imagine, no? To a place who takes care of me. There I am going. Ben, come, Mr. Meriwether, you have got to live with one of your daughters. You see, don't bluff us, right? You are to put up with either that or either this. Either the daughters, you are to be with them only. Come on, don't tell things to us. Come means that. Abel, I will tell you what I have got to do. You see, don't tell me or don't dictate me what I am to do. I will tell you what I have done or what I have got to do. Let me tell. On Monday next, I have got to do 3 things. The coming Monday, the next Monday, I am doing 3 things. One is what? I have got to go to the lawyer and alter my will. I am going to the lawyer and I am going to alter my will. Second thing, and I have got to go to the insurance office and pay my premium. And I have got to go to St. Philip's Church and get married. What are the 3 things he wanted to do? Abel, one is to alter his will, going to the lawyer, altering his will. Second of all he wanted to do is go to insurance office to pay the premium backlog, to clear the areas, to clear the dues. Third thing, he wanted to go to this St. Philip's Church and get married. 3 things he declared over there. Now you can understand how the people there feel. Ben and Henry, what? Immediately they question, the old man is getting married? Mrs. Jordan, get married? She put the remaining part of what? And Mrs. Slater, he is out of his senses. Arey, the old fellow has turned to mad. He is a mad fellow now. He is a crazy. He doesn't know what he speaks. That his daughters and son-in-laws have declared him. General consternation. There is a spellbound silence over there. Everybody kept silent. The old man told 3 things what he planned to do next Monday. And Ben, here, Henry, they have talked something. And here, Jordan and Slater, they said something. Now, there fell a silence, a spell of silence. Abel, I say I am going to get married. Yes, it is fixed. You may call me mad. You may call me crazy. You may call me old. Whatsoever. I have decided I am going to get married next Monday. And what it is? Who to? Who is going to marry you? Who does agree to marry you? To Mrs. John Shorrocks, who keeps the Ringo bells. We have had it fixed up a good while now. The old man spelled it. Whom to he is going to marry is She is Mrs. John Shorrocks, who keeps the Ring O Bells. Ring O Bells may be a kindergarten school or maybe a child care center, whatsoever. She is keeping that Ring O Bells. And we have had it fixed up a good while now. Since long we have agreed about and we have fixed it that we are going to marry. But I was keeping it for a pleasant surprise and I wanted to surprise you all, and so I kept it for myself. Right? Now it is announced, so he rises from the sofa. From wherever he is sitting, he rises up. I felt I was a bit of a burden to you, so I found someone who would think it a pleasure to look after me. We shall be very glad to see you at the ceremony. Now, I found you both are equally burdened with my presence. You people cannot take care of me. So I have decided who can take care of me. I said, yes, I found her. She is a pretty happy with me. And so I decided, okay, now let us meet in the ceremony. Till Monday, then 12 o'clock at St. Philip's Church. Opening the door, it's a good thing you brought the bureau downstairs, Amelia. It will be handier to carry it across to the Ring O Bells on Monday. He goes out. Now, he thanked Amelia, his daughter, and the son-in-law. What for? For the trouble they have taken to bring the bureau down while going. And also he said, we will be meeting in the church in the ceremony. It's very good that you brought the bureau down and the clock down. It can be carried easily from here across the street to the Ring O Bells. I'm going over there now. There ends the drama, one act play here. I feel you have enjoyed it a lot.